everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Happy to introduce myself. This is our new show, The Oracle Show, hosted by yours truly, Professor Hilton. That's myself. We have an amazing show tonight, guys. Welcome. I hope everyone's doing well on this Sunday. I mean, guys, this is going to be a great show. We have some special guests that's here tonight, and I want to introduce myself before we go any further. For those of y'all that's new to the Oracle Show, this is our first tonight show where we airing. My name is Dedrick Hilton. I'm also a professor. I'm also a UFOologist. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master in individual and family development. I study UFO phenomenon and paranormal phenomena, and also study ancient higher consciousness and metaphysics. That's right. So, welcome to tonight's show. No further ado, we have a very interesting show. As you can see in the banner, we're going to discuss humanoid aliens living amongst us. And how long have they been living amongst us? I'm going to bring on our guest for tonight. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How's everyone?
We're doing all right. Good. Yep.
All right. I have Jim Andre and Jim McFarlin. Jim Andre, introduce yourself to the audience here.
Okay, my name is Jim Andre. I'm an alien abductee, contactee, energetic healer. I'm a retired Massachusetts constable and motor coach bus driver. I got abducted in the late fall of 2012, and I was left with an alien tattoo on my right forearm post-abduction. And this is the tattoo right here.
Wow. Amazing. All right. And how many years had that tattoo been on your arm?
Okay, 10 years. And another thing I like to mention about it is that it does morph within time. It has subtle changes that we've observed through that 10-year period. When it healed, it didn't heal like a regular tattoo or a conventional tattoo. What it did was it boiled up like a blister, and it peeled like a sunburn and healed within 3 days.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to get back into that because that's interesting. All right, our next guest is Jim McFarlin, correct?
Yeah.
Introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Jim. I'm a retired truck driver, and I'm a contactee.
A contactee. Now, can you care to explain that to us? What a contactee is?
Well, I've had several encounters with UFOs and aliens over my whole entire life. But
so you actually had some serious encounters. Now, these encounters, care to explain to us, like, where did they take place and what do they look like? I think that's very interesting to me.
My first encounter, I was probably 6 years old or something like that. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember waking up and I wasn't in my bed, and I was nude. I didn't have my pajamas on or nothing. Well, when I woke up the next morning, I was back in my bed. And to this day, my pajamas have never showed up. I don't know what happened to them.
Wow. How long you think you was gone for? Oh, we just lost Jim real quick. He'll be back on.
Yeah, he'll be back in.
All right. So, Jim, I want to talk to you tonight because, as you know, the government has openly admitted to UFOs being a real thing.
Right.
A real thing. Oh, there go Jim right there.
I don't know what happened. I just got cut off.
Yeah, I don't know. I think something dropped out, but we're glad to have you back on.
The second time I was probably okay.
Yeah. Oh no, we're gonna get back to your story in a moment. But Jim, we'll touch base on discussing the fact that has the government they openly admitted that UFOs have existed. That's
Well,
right.
yeah, but I mean, the government has known about this for decades, for years.
Decade.
They just suppress the information. They're trickling it out now for a reason, you know.
And it's interesting because I just read an article last week about Ireland and their UFO sightings. And we see alien abduction, we see UFO sightings through the eyes of America. Other
Right.
countries are far more transparent than what the United States has been about aliens and UFOs. They're more transparent about their video footage, releasing it to the public, versus America still kind of tiptoeing around about these tic tac objects, these triangular TR3B
Right.
crafts in the sky, and so forth. But this is where I'm going with tonight's show. Is what's interesting is the fact that they now admitted to these items being real. Now that opens up the conversation for alien abductees. What actually are alien abductions real now? And also, what type of aliens are we coming across, or what are the possibilities of different races existing out there? So,
Right. From what I understand, there's at least 63 different alien races, but there's about 10 of them that actually, um, you know, interact with Earth,
right. So you
with
said about actually
humanity.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now, like I said, day to day, for those of y'all that's watching, aliens have been visiting our planet for just hundreds of years, thousands of years. That's just a
Thousands of
fact.
years. Yeah.
Thousands of
Yeah.
years. The reality is, and in that, I'm quite sure now we talking about alien abduction for the last 40 or 50 years, but the reality is we don't know who or what that could be walking around us day to day that we're interacting with that might possibly have alien DNA.
Well, we all have alien DNA, actually.
You care to break that down?
Well, we're a product and result of a biological experiment performed by a higher intelligence of life, the extraterrestrials themselves, through genetic manipulation and biological experimentation and artificial insemination between the great ape species and the aliens. They created the humans,
Mm.
and at first, after they created us, they set us free. They didn't abandon us. They've been monitoring our progress from a behind-the-scenes approach. There's been two previous interventions where they intervened directly. The first one was to jumpstart man's knowledge because it was taking him a while to become more intellectual or whatever. And that was during the period of the Egyptians, thousands of years ago, the Anunnaki. They came down from the heavens, and of course, everybody at that time thought they were some type of gods. So that's when the island of Atlantis was built, that served as a learning facility to jumpstart man's knowledge. That's when man was taught calculation, science, engineering, mathematics, the whole works. And as time went on, even though they were successful in jumpstarting man's knowledge, he was barbaric. What do I mean by that? For example, the Romans taking delight in observing death and dismemberment during blood sports.
Right.
So now
right.
they said, well, we got to do something now to have man believe in something other than himself, so he doesn't remain stagnant in a barbaric society. And that's when they introduced Jesus to millions worldwide. Jesus himself was an alien.
Okay, now let me touch on that now. Hold now, because we're getting ready to go into it here. Let me touch on this now. Because, see, I had a theory about this dating back based off of my research.
Uh-huh.
And what I gather is that, like you say, there's a strong possibility that we were dropped off on planet Earth as an experiment by other species and life forms. And the reason we seeing all these sightings recently is because they're coming back to visit us. And date back to what you said. I said that They might have gave us religion to control us. Not them control us, but a way to keep humanity in line.
Yeah.
And I think the masses know about it, and that's why the masses hates anti-religion talk, because once you start talking anti and the people stop thinking on a religious term, they start tapping into higher forms of a true spiritual consciousness.
Right.
You know, like right now, think about it, in this day and age, everyone is looking, they're getting into meditation, they're getting into higher forms of consciousness in today's time and stuff. And I believe that this is just us tapping into our higher selves, our higher not just spiritual self, but we're going into other dimensions of our that DNA that we talked about.
Right.
Now,
Yeah, we all
I just
have
want to,
alien DNA. You know, some of us can activate it, and others can't. You know.
right. Now let's talk about something here. I want to talk to you guys real quick about this here. Look at this here. This here was found on the walls of the pyramids. Now let's look
Exactly.
closely here. As you can see, these are crafts. Clear as
Exactly.
day. Wings,
Flying crafts. Yeah.
flying crafts.
Right.
And for those of y'all that's watching, this is on the walls of the Egyptian pyramid. Now let's give them, the Egyptians, credit, of course, because there was an advanced civilization, and we're not saying the Egyptians themselves was actually alien, but we're talking about them documenting what they might have come across
Right. Exactly.
in their time.
Well, I mean, you know, that was thousands of years ago. Where would they get that from unless they observed it?
Exactly. Once again, look at this here. Jet propellers.
Right.
Look at this. Wings. That one there look like a helicopter.
Well, they even have hieroglyphics of astronauts.
Glad you said that.
Yeah.
Right
There
there.
you go. Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is when you look at this here, I remember Obama said before they had a meeting up at Congress, which when they asked about UFOs before, he said he didn't know anything about it. But then when they had this meeting up in Congress, all of a sudden he's talking about, oh yeah, I seen footage that would blow the world mind. Now, he distinctly stated himself, talking about religion, he said, if they release religion, he said, if they release actual the deep footage of UFO technology and footage of it, he said humanity themselves will end up creating a new religion.
Right.
So that's why it goes back into the Vatican is afraid, and the Vatican holding on to information themselves about these crafts and these humanoid figures that could possibly walking amongst us or visited us. Yeah, that's even date back into Knights Templars time.
Well, that visitations from thousands of years ago is what sparked, the idea of gods from the heavens.
Right. And also let's look at the in the Bible, the book of Ezekiel talks about the spinning wheel. And I want to show you guys something. This here was also sketched during the Knights Templars time. What do you notice about that?
Yeah. Looks like a short gray to me.
A short gray with circular items with propellers at the bottom of the cross.
Right.
So I'm looking at this, and I'm an esoteric type guy myself, me being a Freemason and everything. Which some of this stuff shows up there too in our degrees. I'm looking at this. Could this be a message of, you see the cross, you see the circular disc-like object on the cross, and then you see, like you said, a possible gray.
Right.
Could this mean that maybe this is a message that we're not worshiping God, we're actually worshiping an alien?
Right. Well, I mean, that's when man actually had hope back then and faith, when they appeared. In other words, appearing from the sky out of nowhere like that. What else could they do but think of them as gods?
Right. and you see flames coming and stuff. And oftentimes, I believe the theory of the dragon could be coming from the fact that people see these crafts that's rectangular shaped, dark flames coming from it, and it looks like a mythical beast.
Yeah, well, what was it? Zachariah Sitchin there wrote that book, Gods of the Chariots or something like that.
There you
Well,
go.
that's exactly what people thought back then.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I want to get Jim McFarlin on. You think he's good to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's get Jim on. I want to hear his story about his encounter with the Greys. Jim, you there?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Jim, share your story with us about your encounter with the Greys.
Well, I've been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I had lung cancer and I started coughing up blood clots, having a lot of trouble with my lungs. And Jim been doing healing sessions with me. Well, one night I go to bed and I wake up 3 hours in the morning and I've got sleep paralysis. I can't move. All I can do is see. And when I open my eyes, there's 3 alien greys standing at the foot of my bed. One of them steps out of the lineup and starts around the side of the bed at me with his 3 fingers and his thumb out. I'm fighting trying to get loose. Well, he lays his hand on my chest, and as soon as he lays his hand on my chest, it was just like, only way I can explain it would be like God in the Bible laid his hand on you. It was just the most peaceful feeling there was. I mean, I instantly calmed down. When I opened my eyes, they was gone. I haven't coughed up no more blood since.
Wow.
The next morning, I called Jim, was going to tell him what I experienced. Before I could tell him anything, he said, well, let me tell you what happened. Don't tell me, let me tell you. He said, my 3 little friends paid you a visit last night.
So these Greys, how would you describe their skin, their texture, their skin? Was it smooth, scale-like?
Yeah, it's more or less a smooth skin, no hair anywhere on them. Big black almond-shaped eyes. Big head, skinny body. Long arms, thin legs. 3 fingers and a thumb on their hands.
Now,
they're about 3 to 4 feet tall.
3 to 4 feet tall. Now, do they outfit to?
Every once in a while, you might see one that's like about 5 feet. But a lot of people, they confuse the Zeta reticulans with the taller grays, which the taller grays are pretty nasty, and they don't have our best interest in mind. But the Zetas are they're here to help us.
Okay, well, you say that is that the actual skin, or would you say it's like a spacesuit?
No, I think it's more like a skin. But I
No
believe
mouth?
I also believe that what they are clones. They all look identical. I don't believe they feel any emotion like we do. They're more like probably like AI, if you will, artificial intelligence of some sort.
So technically, the Greys possibly might not actually be full function beings. They might be some type of artificial intelligence to do, let's
Well,
say,
yeah,
recon here.
whatever their purpose is, they're on a mission. That much I know.
Do you believe that they're walking amongst us?
Well, the Zetas, looking at the way they are, wouldn't be among us because they'd be obviously picked out. But there are certain alien species, the Nordics, for instance. They're fair skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. They look just like human beings. There could be thousands among us that we wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And there's another species that looks kind of mostly human-like, which is the Arcturians. They got more of like a bluish skin color.
Tone?
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting because in my research, like I said, going back to the Vatican, they definitely know about this because if they're a strong religious institution like they are, they're aware of all threats that could break down their religious institution. And it's this book that's amazing right here. Let me put this up. Extraterrestrial Intelligence in the Catholic Church. Are we alone in the universe with gods and angels?
Right.
That's a good book to check out. Jim McFarlin. Now, you said that after that, you've never been sick again, correct?
I ain't been coughing no more blood up. I have normal sickness, but
Right. So you felt like when they was touching you, did you see a light or anything?
I didn't see nothing. I closed my eyes when I seen I couldn't fight him off, and he put his hand on me, just like God put his hand on me. My heart completely slowed down to a normal beat, and I got this calm and warm feeling.
Wow. You know, and that's have been stated by people that say they come across like extraterrestrial or the grays, that they feel like a calm, pleasant, euphoric feeling,
Right.
or a warm feeling that comes over them. So in reality, then that some of these grays might not actually be here to actually harm us.
No, that's not their intent.
Well,
not with it. Jim, tell them about the time you were on the highway there with your 10-wheeler.
I was driving a truck one time, Dedrick, and I was coming out of Wisconsin into Illinois. I've been on the phone with my wife. Well, at first I was on the phone with Jim and another guy, and I said, well, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to call the wife before she goes to bed. So I get off the phone, and I call my wife up, and I talk to her a couple minutes. Just as soon as I hang up, I didn't go very far, and all of a sudden I get this bright flash of light. And the best way I can describe it is like a Men in Black when they erase your memory of that flasher.
Right.
It just blinded me. And I'm in a tractor trailer, and I go slamming on the brakes because I don't want to run over nobody. Well, when the bright light dissipated and my sight started coming back to me, I wasn't no longer on the interstate. I was on a 2-lane road in the middle of nowhere. Well, come to find out, I was 50 miles from the interstate. It was instantaneously I was shot there. Ain't no way I drove over there. Because when I went back to the interstate, I asked for directions, went back to the interstate. It was 40-something miles, almost 50 miles back to the interstate, and I had to go through one town where you had to go around the courthouse square in a truck. And I had never been in that town in my life. So, only thing I can figure, they teleport me out of harm's way, because just down the road the same night they had a bad accident where tractor trailer and people in 2 cars got killed in a bad accident.
Wow. So there was like definitely a loss of time.
Yeah, I called my wife back to tell her what just happened to me. I said, I just hung up to you a while ago. And I told her what went on. She said, ain't been a while ago. She said, I've been in bed 3.5 hours. Well, then I called Jim back, and Jim had done hung up the other guy, and I was telling Jim about it, and he said, because it seemed like I just got off the phone with them just maybe 30 minutes prior. Jim said, no, it's been 4 or 5 hours since you talked to me.
Now, guys, for everybody that's watching, I'm also a MUFON investigator. This is common. Loss of time. People have reported loss of time, driving, waking up in another state somewhere, and it only felt like they've been driving for 20 minutes, and they waking up in a state that's 4 or 5 hours away. I had a client one time that claimed he went outside one night to take his garbage out, talking about humanoid. He said it was like a roughly 6'8" figure standing in the dark night hour. He said like the outfit didn't look like something he see regular people wear from day to day. And he said it looked kind of like a human being, like it skull shape and everything. And he said he was staring at it, and then a mist came up. He said he saw a bright light in the sky, and he shook his head and said, man, I need to go back inside. So when he went back inside to his house, it was 5-something in the morning.
Right.
He lost almost about 4 hours.
Yep.
And I asked him, have he seen this figure again? He said, no. But he feels like when he look in the sky sometime, he can see in the clouds that same circular light. And he believes there might be following him.
Right. There's a connection there, yeah.
Right. And then so I went back and had this investigation with him again. And I said, well, let's talk about this humanoid figure that you saw. He said he hasn't seen that exact figure, but he believes there's other species that are watching him and following him around right along with the object in the sky. Right along with the object in the sky.
Yeah, that would make sense because they got to travel anyway, you know.
And now you think the mixing of the DNA is to make us superhumans or to make them a super species? What do you think is the science that's behind the mixing of the DNA?
Well, I think you know, for one thing, like I said, take the Zetas for example. They don't feel emotion. So, in other words, they don't know what love or hate is like. They're just neutral beings. So that's probably what their DNA is designed for them to be. Now, I don't know if they're put into the mix to help guide humanity in a certain way so that humanity doesn't end up destroying itself. I mean, there's no doubt that we're on a path of self-destruction at this point in time.
Well,
You know,
yeah, we're on the brink of war,
right.
humanity, lack of food and everything. So let's go ahead and we're gonna take a quick break. And we just gonna take a few seconds break just to you know, guys, we gotta pay a couple of bills. By the way, anybody that is seeking any type of counseling, we have Natural Vibe Holistic Counseling where we tackle the whole human experience. You don't have to suffer in silence. Let's see. Just make sure you guys hit me up, inbox me, let me know that if you're looking for any type of holistic counseling, we provide remote services. We work with other agencies to help get people the service they need, and the prices are affordable. That's right. The prices are affordable. You do not have to suffer in silence. Okay. So, guys, let's move right along. I'm going to show y'all something. We're talking about humanoids, species. So, let's jump into this. Now, this is just a possibility of sometime what people have seen. This is just an image. Jim, what are your thoughts on the possibility of a species existing like this before we go into the actual species?
I believe when I see that, I connect that with the Arcturians.
Now break that down for people that's tuning in.
Well, it's one of the other alien species that are out there, which are very few of that resemble human more than any other of the other species.
Now let's get into the guts of the show. You have the reptilians, which have been documented, and people also believe the reptilian species allegedly, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, that I don't do, might actually exist in the government.
Oh yeah, reptilians and their cousins would be the draconians.
Now, would you say the reptilian would be something along like you remember the TV show V from back in the day in the 80s?
Yeah.
And for those of y'all that's tuning in and you're young, go see V. And you can watch it on Tubi, the very first episode. Yeah. Go watch V. We're just reading some comments and stuff. Go watch V. And V was about a craft that came out the sky all across the world, remember? And when the people got off, there was humans like us with nice spiffy garments on, and you know, they introduced themselves as being peaceful. But they, you know, of course, they had state-of-the-art weapons because they were able to get to us, correct? But as the show went on, you start to see like when people got into a fight or these people got bruised, you saw that they had reptilian skin underneath their human skin. And they were eating the rats. You remember they were eating the rats and the cats and everything?
Yeah.
Right. So is it possible we might have reptilians actually walking amongst us? It could be your supervisor, you know, it could be a friend of the family, it could be Biden.
I was just going to say, I believe some top ranking government officials are reptilians.
And I like to piggyback off of that. I believe the same thing because I was talking to my mother the other day, and I'm going to say the politician's name, Nancy Pelosi, and I said, I said Nancy Pelosi.
Don't get me going on that now. I don't want to go there.
Well, I say that because she's like what? Like 84, 85. I'm serious. She's like, people y'all don't know. This woman's up there. She's not in her 70s. And through all this chaotic, whether you believe in COVID or not, everything that's been going on in the world crazy, this woman hasn't skipped a beat. Her hair's naturally the same color. And I'm not being perverted, but if you look at old women and you can look at when they got on a nice button-up shirt and they breasts look kind of wrinkled in the middle right there. I'm not being perverted, but we talking some science here, and biology. And I said, this woman on stage with AOC and them, and I'm not being dirty, but I'm like, them things don't look too bad though. They don't look too bad. They look better than a lot of 30-year-olds. I'm just saying, Joe, for real. Like, I'm just saying, could it be the reason gravity hasn't quite took its toll on her? Because she looks the same over the last 10 years.
Well, if she's a reptilian, she can manipulate the way she looks in the first place.
Do you think Hillary's one?
I believe so.
Yeah. I
believe so.
I believe. Remember when she was running for office or wherever, and she had a hospital bed at her daughter's apartment. They could have been juicing her back up with some reptilian juice.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm not a conspiracy
theory.
I
mean, there's so many things that we're unaware of that are possibilities that it's beyond belief.
Could be. Let's look at some more. All right, we have the Anunnaki. Let's touch on them. Do you think the movie Black Panther possibly has something to do with Anunnaki?
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that we have to look at this. Do art imitate culture? Do culture imitate art?
Right.
You have the insectoids, which, if you watch the movie Starship Trooper, and I always use movie for reference because sometimes movies will show you things that's easier for our mental to comprehend than somebody telling it to you blatantly,
Right.
I might get banned for the Nancy Pelosi breast thing. Oh.
He talking about that. He talking about them insectoids, Jim. Tell him about the video that we saw, that one.
Oh, y'all have an insectoid video?
What one was that, Jim?
The one Scott shared with us that night.
Oh, yeah, running through his peanut farm, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, what state was that in? Was that Arkansas?
Alabama.
Oh, Alabama, yeah.
How tall was this insectoid?
He wasn't very tall. Probably 2 foot tall, but that little sumbitch was running like a sumbitch when Scott caught him on camera. He was getting out of Dodge.
We need that footage. We need that footage.
Anyway, this boy here, he's Merle Haggard, one of Merle Haggard's sons, old Scott. He was talking to me and Jim because he was showing us all these strange crafts over his peanut farm every night. One morning he went out to feed his horses, and this damn insectoid, he had his camera going, he'd walk across the pasture, and this damn insectoid run right out in the road in front of him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Now, do you believe the insectoid, just for people that's tuning in, how you think they're being birthed? Are they being birthed through eggs? What's their method of giving birth? And if they crossbreed with humans, are we gonna get like 6-foot insectoids? Just something to think about. Like insectoid, like how would they breed?
I don't know.
Huh. All right, let's go on to Palladian.
Yeah, Palladian. That's another species that's human-like. The 3 species that are human-like are Pleiadians, the Arcturians, and the Nordics.
So Paris Hilton could be a Palladian.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah.
And I say that the reason I'm using celebrities and entertainers because a lot of people believe that in high up in the entertainment industry, and like you stated earlier, amongst government officials, that maybe there's some cloning, maybe there's some DNA altering that's taking place. And this is not far fetched. But let me break it down simple for people who say that sounds crazy. Okay, if you looked in the 60s, Botox might have sounded crazy. If you thought about women bodies in the 1920s and somebody say, hey, you know, one day you could go to Brazil and if you have a pancake butt, bam, now you can have this gigantic thing. People like, that sounds crazy. If you think that's crazy, who in the 90s, if somebody said, hey man, I got a flat tire. Here, bro, here's some Fix It Flat. Shh. Hey, you know what? How about we put this in women butts to make it bigger? Dude, this is Fix It Flat. I know, but we could make women butts bigger with it. I'm just saying this as an example because what sounds crazy, sometimes the truth is in what's crazy.
Now, how about Madonna?
Oh, another one. You know, let's go back to that one. Let's go back to that one. Since we're naming them, let's go back to that one. So we got Paris Hilton.
Madonna would be a good example.
Right. Because she looks younger than Cyndi Lauper. Now, I haven't seen Cher lately. You think possibly Cher might be on there?
I don't know. Yeah,
what about Dolly Parton?
Possibility, yeah.
Dolly Parton?
Yeah.
You
know who else had a nice long life that looked didn't really look that old was Betty White.
Yes, that's right. That's another one. Maybe even Sade.
Yeah.
These all right, so let's go right on to the Zeta grades. Let's break down the Zeta grades here. The Zeta grades, would you say these are the more peaceful grades?
Yeah, the Zetas, those are the ones I'm connected to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Share that with us, your connection with the Zeta grades.
Well, I get telepathic downloads like I've told you before. You know, it's like informational downloads usually when I'm in a relaxed state of meditation. I can't initiate it, but it comes to me when it comes to me. You know, since my connection with them, my outlook on life, nature, and the whole universe for that matter is completely different than what it used to be. Let's put it this way, I got more of an understanding of what life actually is all about than I did before.
And they're the ones they're the ones he sends into your house to do his dirty work.
Back in the beginning, during the 60s, our government was leading the people with aliens and moon landing, and this foolishness continues to this day. So I take it, Mr. Michael Thompson L believes possibly that the moon landing was fake.
I believe it could have been because you know they were in a race with what was it, Russia, to see who would get to the moon first, or was it Germany? And so technically, they probably faked it, you know, to make it look like they accomplished something they really didn't accomplish. I mean, there are some things that stick out to me that it could have been faked.
Like the wind and the flag blowing.
The wind and the flag, yeah.
When there's no wind on the moon.
And if you look at, you know, certain photos and shots there, the angle of the shadows don't match up with the lighting.
And that's about to tell you, yeah, the shadows and stuff. And maybe that's why now they're trying to actually go back to the moon. That's the new talk now. They want to go back to the moon. But you know, there's conflict in the story because what was it, Neil Armstrong? He stated that he saw a craft flying past Earth when he was on the moon.
Right.
So you think that's like a fictitious story?
Well, you know, there's actually been claims that there was aliens on the moon while they were there. And in some cases, there's reports that the aliens made it clear not to go back there. So
I heard that, and I heard that since the 80s. My dad told me that we went up to the moon, and they told them that they actually have like space docks and stuff up there, and their pyramids up there too, and told them, said, "Hey, don't you come back."
Right.
Yeah. Don't you come back, because we didn't go back there. We try to travel to further places than that. Let's check out some more humanoid figures. Now, this one looks like a young Bill Clinton.
You got the hairstyle of Elvis.
It looked like a blind Captain Planet. Oh. Okay, so we have the origins of the Pegasus constellation agenda. Their agenda is guidance, based on what? Protection. And the Pegasus are the 5th to the 8th dimension being, and they are descendants of Lyria. They are part of the vast human family and universe, and has been assisting human race since their beginning. So this goes back into, once again, some aliens coming to actually assist us, maybe teach us high science, higher forms of consciousness, to evolve the civilization along, to help push it along.
Well, I think mainly their main concern is that we live in peace. You know, that's the number one priority.
Right. Well, you know, there's, like I said, there's a lot of evolution taking place with humanity lately in the last 3 years. Even down to certain birth defects are popping back up. Could this possibly be because we are in the process of mixing alien DNA?
Yeah, well, I think it's been a mix right from the beginning, and as time goes on, it evolves basically on its own. You know.
Now, Jim, both of y'all have had encounters. What would you share with the public possible ways that people could determine if they have alien DNA, which leads to the term starseeds?
Well, I believe we're all a part of the universe, so I believe we're all star seeds. You know, I don't believe the aliens are any more of a star seed than we are.
Right. It's just that, do you believe we have to start looking deeper into our higher consciousness and our higher selves to get into this higher form of psychology?
What I will say is that, you know, people search for the truth externally, like it's out there somewhere, when the truth is actually within you. You have to know yourself and be comfortable in your own skin, and look at yourself deep within before you can start understanding anything that's around you.
You know, Jim, that's so profound. Because there's a lot of schools of thoughts out there and I've been studying a lot lately, even from Rosicrucian stuff. And that same method and ideology is popping back up a lot lately. People need to start looking within themselves and stop looking externally for something or someone, and start looking within. And let me tell you something, because, by the way, for those that tune in, welcome to the Oracle Show. I'm big on metaphysics. I'm a licensed metaphysical practitioner, big on metaphysics. And I was just telling this with my girlfriend the other night. I said, you have to look within to manifest the reality that you want to live. To tap into your true highest
the bottom
potential.
line. Yeah, the bottom line is we're all captains of our own ships, you know.
Your own soul controller.
And we can set that course in any direction we choose, you know.
Right. I absolutely believe that, you know, and we have to do the science of ourselves. Look at knowledge, wisdom, understanding, you know, within ourselves, and use those science daily to manifest the lifestyle that we want. I tell people time, you're never too old to change.
You know,
you're never too old to grow and learn.
You know, Dedrick, as I've said before, I believe that man's intelligence is his curse. You know, for example, a cow grazing in a field is probably more than likely satisfied by doing just that, grazing in a field. But man, due to his intelligence, distorts the simplicity of nature and will never truly be satisfied until he self-annihilates.
Right. All right, let's move right along to the next one. Caridians,
yeah.
Agenda, assistance, body, slender bodies. They are the child race of the Arcturian race. They are here with many of their blendings, and they belong to assist with Ascension. Now, let me tell you something. This similar to what you saw that both of you gentlemen might have experienced.
Well, yeah, they sort of like resemble a short gray in a way. Yeah.
Would you say that these figures are more humanoid-like?
Yeah. Well, yeah, these here would look more humanoid than a short gray would. Yeah, they've got the same skin color.
Right. Now, would you say that these species have already been mixed in with us? That's why we're looking at this type of format, the large cranium, the
Right.
humanoid nose, eyes,
Yeah.
and I'm quite sure they could communicate similar to us too, right?
Yeah. I would say they probably even might know our language. Yeah.
Might have even created the language.
Right.
Possible. All right, moving right along here. Let's look at. Now, I have a theory about this. Terrors. Because this figure looks pretty broad. You think this could be like where humanity gets its athletic gene from?
I don't know. I've never heard of these guys, but so I can't comment much on that. But I know the ones that are underground are the tall grays. That I know.
Because they said, no, some look so human, they could come to the surface and never be noticed. Now, for those guys tuning in, probably say, where are you guys getting these species from? Let me tell you something. If you do research, because we present evidence, even though we like to laugh and present quality information to you, you could actually look at you can look at scientists that are really exploring the galaxy, and they really are talking about other species that live out there. Now, I'm just like you. Just recently, I said, "Wow, I'm reading this, but how did this science know that these species exist?" And I said, "Oh, it's because some interaction." Like they said, these species here, the Terros, they dwell beneath the Earth's surface. So, is this what people
Right.
see when they went to center Earth, or are these flying the Tic Tacs under the water?
Well, I believe there's numerous species that do that.
All right, let's.
I meant to tell you pre-show, Dedrick, that I messaged you earlier that Cassidy had wanted to maybe appear on the show if that was all right. But maybe we can get him on a future show.
Yeah, definitely. Mura, let's check this one out.
Now that looks like Bigfoot.
Planet Maladek destroyed. Oh, planet has been destroyed. Agenda, reflection,
Well, that's
lifespan.
that's quite the lifespan there, 1,000 years. Wow.
Yeah, 1,000 years. Ship shape, none. Base, neutral. Bigfoot lived and destroyed a planet are now on Earth to reflect their past. 1,000 years.
Yeah, I believe they're interdimensional as well.
That based on some of my research, that's why I heard too. And now for the all that's tuning in, there have been numerous research over decades that say in certain places when Bigfoot is sighted, usually people see a UFO somewhere nearby, nearby in the area. So there is a correlation between the two. There's definitely, but 1,000-year lifespan. So possibly we might be looking at the Yeti also descending from this group too, from Bigfoot. You think so? Or Sasquatch?
Oh yeah.
There's something to it. I want to know if they could communicate verbally. Now, since we already talked about them living amongst us, we talked about the different species. Before we go tonight, to the spiritual family out there and paranormal family out there, we're going to touch on this. Sky deities. And I know I just want to show you guys some of this stuff. And the reason I say sky deities across the world and methodology is it because the ancient civilization had these sky deities because they might have seen something come from the sky and they start worshiping it like a god?
Right.
I mean, it's just something to look at here. You have stuff from the Mayas, the Incas, um, India, the Buddhists, Hindus, with the Hindus here. I know the
Oh
writer
yeah.
is small.
Yeah, I
But
mean that
China,
phenomenon that phenomenon was experienced all the way around the world,
yeah,
years ago, thousands of years ago.
China. I mean, it's just the Celtics everywhere on this grid. And you guys can watch the show later, tune back in that. But that makes you think, like, once again, when you see dragons, could a dragon be a representation of a spacecraft?
Yeah.
And its feet and legs is just when it lands, it's the ship, the legs of the ship or the wheels or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I mean there is a such thing or as flying dragons, right?
That's right, flying dragons. Just some things to make you think about that's out there. So anyone, I'm just telling you. So if you come across a gray or you think you might have been abducted, you need to hit us up. We get you on the Oracle Show. You need to inbox Parafam or go to hoodoolounge.net and put in the email us and let us know. Like, we're here to help you guys. We want to get you on the show. We want this platform for people to share their stories, their encounters. We discuss the topics that people might be slightly afraid to talk about. But it's here. We're here for the people. We definitely are here for the people. And by the way, guys, I want y'all to know this is another good go on Forbidden Knowledge, Alien Artifacts. You can watch this on Amazon Prime. Shout out to my man Billy Carson. Forbidden Knowledge, Alien Artifacts. Check it out. Ancient times, aliens helping create ancient artifacts. Like Greece, Rome. Did they have a role in that? Atlantis going under. Did they play a role in that? Because they say Atlantis had lasers. That was not of this world, and that's what caused for the island, the country, to actually sink.
Exactly. Yeah, they purposely sank it. Yeah.
Yeah, they were toying around with high science that came from somewhere else and caused for it to sink it. All right, gentlemen. Any last words before we end the show for each one of you guys?
Yeah, well, I'd like to mention my website if they're interested, jimandre.net. It's got to do with the Alien Connection Truth Network. There's a lot of valuable information on there. I'm an energetic healer, and matter of fact, I just got a party that I just met through that website that contacted me that I'm doing healing sessions with now.
Wow. So
Yeah.
are these healing sessions going to be in person or?
Well, I do them online. I play a special frequency background, healing frequency background, and I use a shungite stone during them healings. Now, this stone here actually emits an energetic frequency. Did I ever show you that, Dedrick?
No, you haven't, and I would love to do a show of you healing someone.
Well,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
we can do that. Yeah. Well, Jim can attest to the fact I've helped him and his wife quite a few times with headaches,
Yeah.
toothache.
Well, Jim's got the pictures. I wound up in the hospital last year, Dedrick. I was in the hospital 28 days. I had 9 surgeries on my left foot.
Oh wow.
I had a diabetic ulcer on the bottom of it because I'm diabetic. Well, I live out here in California. Well, I jumped in that Colorado River and I got a bad case of MRSA in my foot. Well, after 28 days, I had a hole about 3-inch diameter all the way through my foot. After they let me out of the hospital, it was still that bad, and I had to heal it from the inside out. And all I used on that was Manuka honey and Jim doing sessions on it. And I'm diabetic. I got out May the 28th, and I had it healed by Thanksgiving.
Wow. So we got some healers here. Guys, this is the place you want to be, the Oracle Show, with some great content and everything. And look, guys, before we go, I also want to show you guys something coming very, very soon in 2023. Macabre University of Higher Consciousness. That's right, coming very soon. We're gonna be teaching actual classes, real classes with real books and information on higher consciousness, manifestation, meditation, tapping into your true divine higher self. We use the ancient knowledge, wisdom, and metaphysical science to help teach humanity to become better versions of themselves. I will let you guys know when those classes will be scheduled for you to take. I'm telling you, we come in with it for 2023. We come in with the high science. This is where you want to be at. We're taking things to the next level, tapping into our true divine higher selves.
Dedrick, let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick. It won't take long.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, here's the pyramid here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the shungite. Now, this is a ohms meter. I got that set on frequency, right? Setting.
Right. You guys
now,
watch
when I touch these two electrodes, you're going to hear it emit a frequency. Ready?
We're ready. Wow. Do it again. I could feel a slight tingle vibration in my brain right there. That is hitting. Wow.
Now, this is the only stone in the world that emits that frequency. The only place you can find this stone is in Russia. They got other shungite like in the Midwest here in the U.S., but it doesn't have the element fullerene that enables it to emit that energetic frequency. The only place found is in Russia.
I could feel that, like back here,
yeah,
in my in the back part of my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all real. It's the real deal.
Wow.
And I use that during the sessions. That helps me channel the energy where I want it to go to help whoever I'm trying to help. And, one question I get all the time is, well, how can you be there in Florida and help somebody that's in Indiana or on the other side of the world? As a matter of fact, the woman I just met through my website is from Germany originally. Where is she now? I forget where she said she's at now. But anyway, they said, how can you do that at such a distance? And the answer to that question is there really is no distance.
That's right.
Because the energy that moves me moves you, right? The same energy that's around me right now is around you, no matter where you're at. So what I do is I just, concentrate, meditate, and I have my shungite here to help me transfer the energy where I want it to go during the performance of the healing.
Guys, let me tell y'all something. The age of Aquarius is upon us. We're in it. It's all about remote. It's about reaching out to new people, evolving to new destinations, everyone. We have to get out this box in humanity. I think we're stagnated psychologically and spiritually wise because we're trapped either on Facebook, we're trapped on Twitter, or we're just trapped in our little circles.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is by design, to be honest with you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And to keep the people's conscious level vibrating very low.
Yeah.
Very low. And once you start vibrating low, you'll start engaging in lewd behavior, toxic behavior. You'll self-sabotage. You're like a walking stick of dynamite once you get so low with low vibrations. And and guys, you really got to get out there and do that work. You have to look in the mirror and say, there has to be more. There has to be more to this. And we could tap into it. Jim, we got to get up with some healing and some holistic natural vibe.
Yeah, I like to do a show on healing, Dedrick.
Sounds great. I'm all in. Guys, the Oracle Show, our content goes beyond. We just don't talk about UFOlogy. We talk about holistic healing, metaphysics, paranormal, parapsychology. You name it, we're going to talk about it. We're bringing high science to you, higher consciousness to you in the age of Aquarius for 2023 and beyond. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. On that note, you guys be blessed and have a good night.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for coming on.
All right.